Up later on the show, but first on to the other lead story that we're looking at tonight in the big debate. We're talking about the ease of doing business in the state of Maharashtra. We know the government has been very active from the first week of October when we first had a conversation with the government of Maharashtra. We're going to take you through everything that's happened, and the big question that we're asking today is are we doing enough? And how much of that benefit is going to pass on to you and me as home buyers? Joining me on the show this evening, China NC National Spokesperson of the BJP, Niranjan Hiranandani, Co-founder and Managing Director of the Hiranandani Group, and Rohit Gera, Managing Director of Gera Developments, who joins us from Pune. I want to thank all of our panelists for joining us, but first I want to give you an update of what we're looking at right now from the government of Maharashtra. Another step towards the ease of doing business in the real estate sector. The state government has formed a committee for the same. Ruchi Deshpande will take us through the latest update on what the government has done for ease of doing business. Ruchi, take us through what's happening with this committee.
In a step towards the ease of doing business for the realty sector, the Maharashtra government has gone ahead and formed the committee for doing so. Now, this committee will be headed by the Principal Secretary of the Union Development Ministry. In addition to this, there will be 2 members each from the Maharashtra Kadai body as well as the MCHI in this committee. Furthermore, we also learned that 1 representative from the Pune Architects Association of India as well as the Principal Architects, Engineers and Town Planners Association of Mumbai will also be a part of this committee. Now, sources tell us that while there is no further development or scope as to what this body will do going ahead, we do learn that in the next week, this committee formed by the state government will have its first meet, and when that happens, we shall keep you updated as to what the further developments are going ahead.
All right, it's very interesting to note, of course, that nobody we spoke to on that committee knew what the scope of the committee was and what the committee is going to actually be doing. But Ruchi, hang on. You also learned the Ministry of Environment and Forests has taken steps towards speeding up environment clearances, which was a big pain point for all the developers we spoke of. Tell us what's happening on that front as well.
Well, if the state government is going ahead for the ease of doing business, the Ministry of Forests and Environment clearances is not to be left behind. We learned that the MOEF has given strict notifications to the 2 apex environmental bodies, the State Environment Impact Assessment Authority and the State Environment Assessment Committee, to go ahead and clear all the green information regarding realty projects in one go. They have furthermore been asked not to get any more information which is not pertaining to the environment clearances. We also learn that they've also been asked not to seek piecemeal information regarding any building projects, and this information is as per the already stated EIC rules. Now, when we come to time-bound clearances, the SEAC will get only 60 days after the applicant has given in his proposal to make the recommendations or changes, and 60 and 45 days is what the SEIACC will get in order to pass this to the applicant itself. So here's hoping for speedier clearances for the real estate sector.
All right, speedy clearances on the environment front in a committee where the government actually talks to, the industry. These are 2 things that we know were demands from the industry. So it seems like the government is making some moves there. And another step to ease doing business, Civic Body of Mumbai and CIDCO of Navi Mumbai are working on the Auto DCR system that will automate building plan approvals. Disha Shah joins us with details on what's happened in the last 1 month as far as Auto DCR is concerned in both of those cities. Disha.
That's right, Faye. Ease of doing business could soon become a reality in Mumbai and Navi Mumbai property market. Like you said, the Civic Body of Mumbai, which is BMC in Mumbai, and CIDCO for Navi Mumbai are working towards an Auto DCR system, which means that everything can now be accessed online, including the government approvals, including the state, the project, the status of the projects, etc. But let me tell you that, Faye, these 2 cities are not the first ones to have a system like this on board. It was in the year 2010, Pune was the first city to have a Auto DCR system like this, and the current status of the system is that it is fully operational, up and running, and the deadlines are being met, the approvals are being given within the deadline of 2 months, that is 60 days. Now, coming back to the 2 cities that we are talking about, Mumbai and Navi Mumbai, if you take a look at the 1 month, the timeline, the CIDCO's Auto DCR for Navi Mumbai has been on the trial phase since August this year, and right now this system is up and running. The building, they have started accepting building proposals online, but they are waiting for the final nod of approval by our very own Chief Minister, Mr. Devendra Fadnavis. And lastly, the financial our very own city Mumbai has been lagging far behind. Although the trial phase have been started in the month of May this year, but it will be fully operational by the end of this year, which is December.
All right, Tisha, thank you so much for joining us with those details. So this is the story we've been tracking on Magic Bricks now for over a month now. We brought this up in the first week of October. We spoke to Shaina NC from the government, who promised us various things. She said the government would look at, conversations with industry. They would also look at environment clearances very closely. And now we're seeing the Auto DCR, that was announced by the Chief Minister about 15 days ago, about a fortnight ago. So I want to bring in our panel at this point. Shaina joins us on this show along with Niranjan Hiranandani and Rohit Gera. Shaina, so obviously the government has been moving quite swiftly on this. Tell us, from the deadlines that the Chief Minister gave us on the 31st of October at one of the conferences that happened in Mumbai, what else is on, is on the plate right now that the government is looking at?
First, for starters, whether it's a building proposal, I'm sure all the developers are aware that at a time when you needed 200 permissions, it's down to 70 permissions. The most important part that is being launched by the Chief Minister on the 30th of this month is where you have the facility to deposit money at 49 places under one place only. This is going to be launched specifically. Parallel processes, so you don't have to wait for one permission and then go for the other. You can have all of this under one roof and at one place itself. That is being launched on the 30th. As far as industry is concerned, you know that most industrialists needed 75 permissions, which has been brought down to 35, and the target is of course to bring it down even further to 15. I think what the Chief Minister is doing on every Monday, the first Monday of every month, which is E-Lok Shahi, where he actually takes on policy decisions which have been brought up under various forums, and he addresses it to the collectors in the districts. And this has been a big success, and I'm sure it's going to be one more thing to talk about. I know there will be people who say that there are certain systems which are in place, certain which are not. But the fact is, we are the first state in the country that has right to services. Our Sarkar has got over 15,000 complaints, some of which have been addressed immediately, but individual cases of course cannot be taken on. They are based basically on policy decisions. If you see the speed at which Ajoy Mehta as Municipal Commissioner of Mumbai is working, the idea is you don't go from person to person and file to file and door to door. You absolutely have a system which is in place to cut all the red tapeism, and I hope that we will be successful in the days to come.
Okay.
Nitin Karir, as you know, is heading this entire panel, which is the ease of doing business, where there are stakeholders involved, and you said the stakeholders didn't know what they're there for. Obviously, if the first meeting hasn't taken place, they don't know what it is, but I'm sure we have a blueprint which will be spelled out to all the members as well.
Okay, let me get a view in from the other panelists as well. Niranjan Hiranandani, have you seen things change on the ground just yet? The last time we spoke, which is about 10 odd days ago, you said there is intention in the government. We've seen that change. Have you seen a change in political intention on the ground at the local level when you're dealing with permissions?
Phil, let me surprise you. We had a very, very pleasant experience in a city not named by you. You talked about Pune, you talked about Navi Mumbai, you talked about Mumbai, but you forgot to talk about Thane. I've had a tremendously positive experience about Thane in the last 45 days. In the last 15 days, we have got tremendous amount of speed of approvals have improved. Mr. Jaiswal, the municipal commissioner there, has really taken off completely and made fantastic changes which have brought about speedy clearances, which we are seeing on the ground tremendously today. So I think Thane is really taken off so fast that it's unbelievable. The Auto DCR is fully functioning, and also the fact that the municipal commissioner is personally monitoring to see that the permissions are made much speedier. So Thane is taken off on the ground hugely. Ajay Matta, as Shaina just mentioned, has also been working on it and is planning to get all these other things off the ground in another 15 days is what I have been told by him personally. And of course, Mr. Kari's action to bring about a committee for the ease of doing business is likely to meet in the next few days. So yes, action is there on the ground, but the surprising story is Thane.
Rohit Gera, what's the change in Pune? Are you seeing a change at all? And I also remember the last time we had this panel when Shaina asked you to file a complaint with Aple Sarkar if you are having a problem. A, have you filed a complaint? What sort of response have you received?
So, Faye, let me answer the second point first. We did personally file 2 issues on the website. We waited about 29 days, and on the last day, the message that came back was you should submit this complaint back to the Pune Municipal Corporation. So I hear what Shaina just said, that this is all about policies and not about individual cases. So maybe we'll have to go back and knock on the doors of the Municipal Corporation where the issue is taking place in the first place. So we haven't really seen what was expected, that it would be solve problems. We haven't seen that happen. Having said that, I think maybe Thane is closer to the epicenter, which is Mumbai. So we are hoping that maybe the tremors will eventually reach Pune. But thus far, what we do see is not only are we seeing talk, but we are seeing a lot of action which is taken place. But for it to actually trickle down and reach Pune, it hasn't really translated as yet. We are seeing a lot of movement in the right direction, but things haven't, like Mr. Hiranandani said, we haven't started seeing those kind of outcomes and results in Pune. I think there is still the issue about political interference. There is still RTI blackmail which goes on. These things, while there is an intent to resolve, this hasn't been sorted out as yet.
All right, Shaina, this is the problem that the government is going to have to address. Of course, how do you police what's happening on the ground at the local level? Is there something being done to sensitize, local level authority who have discretion right now on approvals that are coming to them?
Absolutely. You see, the previous governments and all the developers will tell you the colossal failure of the previous governments per se. Here you have the political will where we are saying we don't want you to go door to door manually, meet person physically, because that's actually not your job. Your job is to get your permission if it's legitimate, and we are going with the faith that the developer is not going to usurp extra area, is going to file in his papers through an online process. And we do away with all this kind of manual intervention that one always saw, where you had from bottom to top or top to bottom everyone that you needed to cover. We need to do away with that, and that is absolutely the intent of the Honorable Chief Minister. The fact that you have reduced the burden of the developer. If you take Mumbai itself, as I said, Mr. Ajoy Mehta has brought down the permissions from 200 to 70 in record time, and it's not as if we are choosing to stop here. For industry as well, if it has been brought down from 75 to 35 and we're taking it down to 15, it means that you're simplifying the process. When you simplify the process, you need to interact with less officers, you need to get your job done online, and you need to get it done in record time. When one talked about right to services, the 31 departments that are already engaged is not where we're going to stop. We're going to have more and more people interact on this premise that you get your permission within stipulated 29 days, or then it's deemed as if you've got your permission irrespective. So the Chief Minister is on the right track. He absolutely has a vision for Maharashtra. He wants all the industrialists and developers who are moving out of Maharashtra to be back in Maharashtra. And just to state one statistic, of the 11 crore people who live in Maharashtra, 3.5 crores approximately, that is 33%, lives in urban parts of Maharashtra, of which you have over 2.5 crores in the Mumbai-Raigad district itself. So we are looking to ensure that whether it's a Mumbai, Pune, Thane, Kalyan Dombivli, we ensure that we have systems which are so strong that we don't have this kind of complaint or question that, you know, our questions have been unanswered.
Sure.
Of course it does take time. Of course you're going to have the 15% who is not happy with your response, but you will have about 80% people who are saying that yes, this government is working fast and is working with the conviction that we want maximum people to set up baggage shops in Maharashtra and in the smart cities particularly.
All right, so here I'm going to pivot this conversation now, since everybody agrees that we are seeing some work on the ground. I want to ask both of the builders on the panel simply this. When we took up this cause on this channel, we took it up because if ease of doing business improves for you, you will be able to bring prices down for us as home buyers. Niranjan Hiranandani, now that you're seeing a change in the way things are moving in Thane by your own admission, do you believe, and when will you bring down prices of homes in Thane in your own project to make them more accessible to the people who want to buy?
I think you're going to see that happen pretty fast in terms of the affordable segments, and a lot of builders who have come into the marketplace today with new cost of land and new approvals and new properties which have come into the market, they are definitely seeing a price which has not gone down at the moment, but certainly has stabilized at a good level. So I think you will see this coming down maybe 6 to 8 months from today. You will see affordability of properties both in Thane, Panvel, Virar, Vasai, peripheral areas of the eastern suburbs, Navi Mumbai, the Naina region. I think you're going to see prices which are far more affordable than they are today once the volumes do pick up. You have to remember that it takes time before the approvals have taken. Really, to roll out the product takes time. You can't build a building overnight. So all this is going to take a little time, but I would say 6 to 8 months or 12 months from today.
I'm asking specifically about your construction in Thane. We know that you just did a very large launch, and normally builders don't reduce prices after the launch is done. The next phase, perhaps, will we see more affordable housing come up in the next phase? Because if I remember correctly, you said if approvals become easier, we'll actually be able to build more affordable housing. Is that actually going to happen within the Hiranandani estate in Thane?
Well, I can't tell you about prices. That depends on the demand and supply which will come into the marketplace. But I can tell you one thing, that as the volumes do go up, we will definitely put in more affordable segments into the marketplace, but maybe, as I said, 3 to 6 months down the line.
3 to 6 months down the line. But you know, Mr. Hiranandani, that we do know that the real demand is in the affordable segment, and when I compare it to the prices in Thane right now, affordable segment would peg itself somewhere close to between 30 and 70 lakh rupees. But I want Rohit Gera to also come in on this. Rohit, if things improve on the ground in Pune, will you be able to reduce prices? Will prices be more affordable for customers?
I think one of the big costs for developers is the holding cost, and I think the approvals that need to improve isn't just the building approvals. Like we saw from the government of India, there has to be a push even as far as the environment approvals are concerned. Hopefully this will also translate and we will start seeing results there as well. But that's one part of it. I think the bigger issue is we need to open the floodgates of supply, and I think it's when we see substantial supply coming into the marketplace, that's when we will actually start seeing prices fall. Having said that, if you look at prices in Pune over the last 12 months, we've seen virtually stable prices. In fact, during this entire Diwali season, most developers were offering great deals for their customers. In real terms, the prices, this means it's already come down. In fact, even in absolute terms, when you net off the discount, you're certainly there already.
No, so tell me this, when you say open the floodgates of supply, what do you mean? What will it take to open the floodgates of supply?
Look, I think there's two things. One, I think, is FAR norms, which is sometimes a taboo subject to talk about. And I think the bigger one is getting road infrastructure to areas of the city which are currently not connected. If we can get road and civic infrastructure into slightly further away areas, there's no reason why people will want to pay higher prices to be closer into the city. This will open up floodgates and bring prices down.
China NC, come in here. We know that also on the 30th of October, the Chief Minister promised 3 lakh affordable homes in Maharashtra. He said they will be constructed as soon as possible. And this is the question I'm asking you as a home buyer and as a customer. And we're also opening the phone lines right now for anybody who wants to pick up the phone and call us and voice their opinion and ask those questions as well. Now that the government is doing their part, do you think there's also going to be an added push for affordable housing from the builders' end as well? Because it was ease of doing business, now it's roads and infrastructure and other rules. At what point will we begin to see affordable homes in our cities?
I think it's a parallel process, as on one hand the permissions become so much easier for the builders. On the other, we're also trying to ensure that the corruption levels absolutely come down to minuscule or none. And the fact is that we are going to ensure that the main source of expense, which was always land, but then to ensure that that land is cleared, the kind of money that the builders and developers used to spend in previous governments, where even the politicians were part of that entire consortium, that is not the situation anymore. Our government and our Chief Minister has said time and again that the onus is also on the builder, that if he feels pressured, extorted, he must also do his job as a citizen to expose the guilty, because we have not even spared the bureaucracy, as you have seen the statement given by the Chief Minister, that even if there are people in the system who are part of the corruption, they must be exposed. So that is a huge cost which is done away with. So I think now the builders have an opportunity where they are getting their clearances under one literally spot. They don't have to go all over the place paying money separately for water supplies and paying separately for all other departments. They can do it all under one forum where you have your permissions processed parallelly. So I think that definitely it will make a difference in the actual price of homes that we are hoping as a vision for Maharashtra to have in low-cost housing. Along with that, of course, the infrastructure that needs to be provided by the government is also an area of concern, which we are focusing on with the railways, with Mr. Nitin Gadkari, to ensure that there is connectivity. Even the coordination that recently happened with Mr. Devendra Fadnavis and Mr. Venkaiah Naidu in Delhi, where we ensured that these smart cities are actually practical, and all the various hubs we're thinking of to provide the basic amenities so that people and developers, industry will want to move to these areas. I think that yes, we need to have patience. We need to realize we have inherited a 15-year legacy which has been most unfortunate, a debt of 3.30 lakh crores. God only knows how many zeros there are in it. But I hope we will be in a position to get Maharashtra back on track and get Maharashtra to #1, which is the vision plan of the Honorable Chief Minister.
All right, so on your screen right now are the home prices average in Mumbai. If we look at it, I can't buy a home in Mumbai unless I'm willing to shell out about 2 crore rupees. That's across the city of Mumbai. If we add in the MMR region, it comes down a little bit. But Niranjan Hiranandani, I'm going to hold you to this. If we are talking about affordable homes, at what point will your company in particular start building affordable homes in that bracket of 30 to 70 lakh rupees?
I think we have that target immediately, and we're looking at a situation of a large project in Panvel, just across the railway station, which I think should come about at the region of 5,500 to 6,000 rupees. So I think you will get a 500 square feet flat, which would go at about 30 lakhs, or about 600 square feet flat, which would go at about 36 lakhs all told. So I think we are going to see that kind of housing taking off very soon, maybe in a couple of weeks, if not months.
All right, and if for more of that to happen in both in Mumbai, Thane and Navi Mumbai, tell us what you want from the government. Tell us what you want right now in terms of bringing down corruption, in terms of making things easier, so we can actually make that target of 3 lakh affordable homes possible.
I think Shaina has already said it in many ways. I would say that Mr. Fadnavis has already laid down the ground rules which need to be taken up. The municipal commissioners have already started talking, and some of the implementation has just started. Navi Mumbai, I believe, Mr. Ajay Mehta will do it by the end of the month. Thane has already started implementation. The other locations I don't know for myself, but I understand that it has started percolating. Down the line, we don't see things happened yet, to be honest, but I think the message should reach over there very soon. We have been informing the government and the municipal commissioners at the bottlenecks which have happened and the places where the real bottlenecks are, whether they are personal or systemic. So I think those should be addressed in the next few weeks or months. I think if that happens, then probably the difference will roll out. The intent, as I told you in my last interview, is there at the topmost level. We have yet to see it percolated. As I said, the good experience of Thane in the last couple of weeks has been surprising and wonderful. So I'm hoping that this will be replicated in the other centers very quickly. Of course, there are very bad sheep also in the system which need to be eliminated. Those things will have to, of course, be changed over a period of time. It's not easy to remove such bad elements, but I hope to God that they will be able to do so.
Are you willing, like Shaina asked you to, name these bad sheep, whether it's to the government or to us in the media, so they can actually be brought to the book?
Oh, we are already naming it to the government. The government and the municipal commissioners are already aware about the names of the people, and I'm sure they will start taking action.
All right, that's something we're going to keep a very close eye on. Rohit Gera, in Pune, what do you need? And I'm going to hold both of you to this. This is the affordable bracket. 30 lakh rupees to 40 lakh rupees is what people actually want to buy homes in. And they don't mind the odd bad road, I'll be honest with you, if they can own a home in that bracket. What will you need in order to build those homes in Pune?
But Faye, as far as Pune is concerned, the lower end of the spectrum, there are already prices at the 3,500 rupees a square foot, right? And if you take that into a one-bedroom apartment, it's going to cost you 20 lakhs. There is already a supply which is available, a two-bedroom at 35 to 40 lakhs. This is already available in and around Pune. So in terms of overall supply, the overall average of the entire Pune market, taking all the luxury at the premium end all the way down to the affordable segment is about 5,050 rupees a square foot. So we already have product at the affordable segment.
All right, so if you already have product in the affordable segment, then I'm going to ask you this next. Yeah, Shaina, go on.
No, I don't. I just want to say that when one talks about affordable homes and affordable housing, one also needs to realize that we need such large numbers in and around Mumbai itself, because we're looking at smart cities all along. And as I said, if 33% of Maharashtra lives in urban pockets, of which you have, out of the 3.5 crores, 2.5 crores just in and around Mumbai, we need to work on these pockets being announced at the earliest. And I'm sure the government in the days to come would also want to partner with some of the players to ensure that this happens in an absolutely expedited manner.
All right, I'm running out of time on this discussion. I'm going to thank all of our panelists. This is an interesting thing we've learned from this, from this particular discussion, that on the 30th of this month, the government will announce a facility. The government of Maharashtra will announce a facility where builders can just have one online window in which they have to make all of the payments for the fees for their approvals. This should speed up processes as well. Thank all of you very much for joining us on this panel. Remember, we're keeping a very close eye on the ease of doing business in the sector, because we're going to push for it, and it will result in more affordable homes for you and me, less delays on the homes that we're buying, and possibly better experience when you and I buy homes. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about the massive pay panel bump up that we saw today and how it's going to impact our real estate market and our ability to buy homes. That's on the other side. Don't go anywhere.